I posted the video of Dragon Ball Daima Episode 9 preview, and I saw some comments, and I've been seeing this all throughout, like ever since last year when Daima was announced. But and I mentioned this in another video that people, just act like children all the time, but especially so on the internet. I don't what is it with people and just crying for Dragon Ball Super? Like, oh, we wanted Super too. Like, you guys act like the characters in this show, a bunch of children, literally. It's amazing to me seeing people just comment on my videos, this episode's gonna be horrible, without even seeing it. Just being pessimistic for no reason. Just, oh, he wanted Super too. Like, what more do you want? If you want Super 2, go make it yourself, literally. And I'm not saying this because, to defend Daima or anything like that, but it's like, if you're going to complain about something, what is that accomplishing? It's getting nothing done. Complaining about something that it's getting nothing done. What are you doing to actually get Super 2 back? You're complaining about it on Twitter to companies who don't care for you. They don't care about what you think. And you think Toei's just they want Super 2. Like, what? They don't care what you think in the US? Like, are you stupid? It's ridiculous how people just complain and just cry on the internet to my channel about this. Like, we need Super 2. This is terrible. I'm like, how much you want to bet some of these people haven't even seen a single episode of this series? It's the same thing people would say about Dragon Ball GT. I remember back in the day when people would say the same stuff about GT, which they still do. I posted a community tab just a few days ago about which Dragon Ball series had the worst dub changes between Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, and Dragon Ball GT. Because, those are the three originals. And, of course, their English dubs were butchered. And I wasn't even surprised by the result. Overwhelmingly, the majority picked Dragon Ball GT. And I didn't even say which series was the worst, but I already knew people would pick GT. And why is this? Because a lot of people just have a sheep mind. People just, they hear what everyone else says on the internet and they spout it back at you without any think, without any checking of the references, without any thought whatsoever. And even further on the GT point, and yeah, I'm going to plug my own stuff real quick, but I posted a video the other day as well about one dub change from Dragon Ball GT that, kind of really goes under the radar. And it's a scene where Goku basically establishes Vegeta's character development, that he's okay with fusing with Goku. This got completely left out of the dub, but you wouldn't have known this if you hadn't seen it subbed, or if you just listened to what everyone else says on the internet rather than actually doing the research yourself, But people wouldn't have known this. They probably wouldn't have even known that Vegeta had said that original dub line to Goku, because a lot of them just see what they see on the internet and repeat it back like a bunch of seals or something. They clap like a bunch of sheep and just repeat what they hear on the internet or see on the internet. It's ridiculous how many people Dragon Ball fans, if you can call them that. They're really just Z fans. It's Dragon Ball Z fans. No one's seen Ball. And the people who claim they saw GT probably only saw the first few episodes and read what they saw on the internet and just thought it was trash and didn't see the rest. They saw Dragon Ball Super, and which is really just a interquel of Dragon Ball Z anyway. They saw Dragon Ball Super and thought, that was a second coming of Z, and only tune in for the fights, because a lot of these people, let's face it, kind of mindless. It's ridiculous how a lot of people don't even check their references. You can tell they don't check their references because they don't when they comment this kind of stuff, you can tell they have no idea what they're talking about, I meant to say. But it's like they say stuff like, oh, this isn't even canon. So Dragon Ball Daima, what they literally mentioned Toriyama was heavily involved in, even more than he was in Super and in GT, and yet this isn't canon somehow. First of all, this whole canon thing that's more of an American concept. Like, that's something, yeah, it exists all throughout the world, but that's more of an American thing. Like in Japan, first of all, it's just Dragon Ball. They just see it as Dragon Ball. And that's one thing that people in the West really don't understand. They don't grasp that. And it's amazing how people just, assume that because they don't like it, it's not official. Like the same thing with the Bardock stuff. So you don't like Dragon Ball minus Bardock, but now you gotta stomach it because it's in every official Dragon Ball release up to this, like in the modern age now, right? You don't like this new Bardock because he loves his son, or you just, for different reasons. But Tough Tit Toriyama created it. But you know what? He also co-signed the older Bardock. So if you want to talk about like the older Bardock from the special is official because he literally referenced it in the manga, and he said in an interview that he referenced it. So that's also official if you want to talk about what's a part of the continuity. It's a part of both continuities. And if you're gonna like talk about Dragon Ball in that way, it's probably best you talk about it in terms of continuities, just different ways like that. What's a part of this continuity, the movie continuity, It's because you want to talk about canon, then it's like, okay, then so does that mean the whole 5-year statement that was made in the manga with Goku and Bulma, is that no longer canon? Because I mean, by the time you get to Superhero, Pan's like what, 4, 3? That's well into that 5-year gap. Even Dragon Ball Super, that should be well into the 5-year gap because Pan was 4. Well, Pan, whatever you want to call her, she was 4 at the end of the manga, right? So how is Dragon Ball Super existing outside of that 5-year gap? So is that no longer canon? Like some of that, it just doesn't make any sense. It's some of the most ridiculous BS I've ever heard. The reality is Dragon Ball exists to make money. I'm not even lying. Dragon Ball exists to make money. Why do you think there's video games? Why do you think there's merchandise? Why do you think Dragon Ball Kai was considered a failure? It's because it was selling the same old merchandise that Dragon Ball Z was. So it's, all these, it's amazing how I understand that you can have an attachment to a series, but if you're going to whine about it and complain about it, not understanding that, you're not solving anything, you're not actually helping anything, you're just an idiot, Literally, I'm not even pulling punches. You're just stupid. Especially when you're an adult. If you're an adult doing this kind of crap, come on, really? But yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to say. I mean, Dragon Ball Diamond, yeah, it's been slow in some parts, but this whole pessimistic attitude when the show isn't even over. I mean, it would have been like back in the Future Trunks arc. People know about it. Now, with the hindsight, people know how it is. But could you imagine in the Future Trunks arc just saying, this arc is garbage just cause Trunks had blue hair. Oh, now this arc is garbage. Okay, maybe you might think the arc is garbage now because the ending kind of muddied everything up. But, I mean, could you imagine just saying that because his hair is blue, the arc is trash? Like, that's ridiculous. So, I mean, the point of this video is check your references and stop being a sheep. Learn to think for yourself. All right, I'll see you on the next one.